Scarcely.
Eccentric?
Occasionally.
Controversial?
Practically never.
Self-publicising we've covered. Worshipped and despised, we can handle these two together?
Probably true. I think that's probably true, yes. I mean, when I'm in public, people either jump on me for one reason or another. So that's probably true. Worshipped and despised. Yes, I accept that.
The Smiths do have a fanatical following. That's the only word for it.
Yes, it can be very, very fanatical, which sometimes can be a great responsibility. But it's very difficult to see any negative strains within the whole thing. It's positive.
You think an awful lot. I mean, you strike me as someone who thinks about everything you do an awful lot. Now, you know, when I was young, I used to fantasise that I'd be in a successful group. Did you go through those fantasies which have now come real?
Yes, I did. I went through the very obvious fantasies about being a pop star. So I can't, I can't deny that I did.
And have the fantasies lived up to expectation?
Yes, they have lived up to expectation, but it's very odd. It's very odd to view many things from the other side suddenly. The other night I was in Brixton, we had played the Academy, and I was being hustled from the venue, and I was surrounded by all these people pushing me out, and then suddenly, in the corner of the venue, at the backstage, there was this huge poster of Mark Bolan, who I used to worship, and his eyes were staring straight at me, and he was looking directly at me, and for me it was a very strange, mystical moment. I don't know why. It was like as if he was almost, staring at me, and I felt odd. It was like a shiver down the spine.
Have you sort of created a monster for yourself? I mean, being a sort of, I don't know, how can I put it, the thoughtful pop star in many ways. I mean, wouldn't it be much easier to run around and take 13 women back to your hotel room and throw the television in the bath?
No, that would be very difficult. No, I don't really want to make life easy. I mean, that's not what I'm out to do. I'm not really out to have an easy time. I think to make a contribution is more important to me, a significant contribution. One that's provocative, not necessarily in an irksome way. I mean, to be provocative doesn't always mean to be, violent or revolutionary. But really to make people think that at least if you hate or you adore the Smiths, that they stand on their own. That's all, really.
How will the Smiths change now? I mean, obviously you added Craig, a fifth member, which has made a big difference, probably more so live in many ways. How will the Smiths evolve from now on?
Well, I don't really think about change as a very, very necessary thing. I don't really feel that every time you release a record it must have a different angle, otherwise you stagnated. I would like to do some very, very searing ballads and very, very soft, heavily orchestrated ballads. So that's one thing I'd really like to do in the future.
Is it always important as well to keep having these cover stars on the record? Why Eutha Joyce on Ask?
Well, she was a very nice person, don't you think?
I never met her.
Neither did I. No, yes, it's crucial. That's very crucial. For me, it means many things that I can never really explain. I always begin to babble and gibberish when I talk about this. But to me, it's a high art, really. It's not been done before, which I suppose is a basic reason for doing it. But I find it very interesting. It's interesting for me. I don't know about the rest of the world.
Could you ever see yourself writing any songs with anyone else other than Johnny Marr?
Not really. I don't really think about that. It doesn't really seem necessary. No, I'm perfectly happy. Very, very happy.
What do you think's the best song you've written together?
This is a question I can never really answer. If I'm really forced to give an answer, which I obviously am, it's a song which was a third track on a 12-inch called Stretch Out and Wait.
I wouldn't do anything so base and predictable as to ask you what your hopes for the future are. But I mean, you must have achieved a lot of the things you set out to achieve. If you stop having those goals, it stops being something you're still striving for. Would you jack it in?
Yes, I would. I think there are possibly other things to do. So yes, I would. I'll stop when it gets dull, because inevitably, obviously, with most things that you do in life, eventually they can tire or become routine. So perhaps routine is the important word. If it becomes routine rather than dull, I would stop and just do something else.
But if the fans just dropped off and people got a bit bored with the Smiths, which undoubtedly certain elements of your audience will, and you were still going round doing it, but you were back to basics, going around the back of a transit van, would you still do it then? I would never ever reach that stage. I mean, if the audience drifted away, that would be it, really. But even over the last few years, people have gone and new recruits have stepped forward. So I think there is a little pattern of like a changing of the guards every year. But lots of groups go on for a very long time, and they can be quite useful and productive. I think the Smiths will, really. And that's not just, ostentatious blabbering. I really think they will. But when it's all just routine and
the same things are shared, and it's